Hello, Durudin Shalom. Hi, guys. I saw this video from Nick Fuentes and I thought I should be sharing this with you guys. I should be watching it with you guys. Let me see. Jewish Samantha and Nil Bunny are here. Oh, I see other people. Keisha is here. Jaden, Falcon. Okay, fantastic. All right, guys. I put a poll at the very top of the chat. I'm going to see. Usually, when we get started, it's just usually mostly our guys. But then as we start, then we're going to get a whole bunch of Nick Fuentes fans showing up for some reason. I think half an hour into the show, it's when YouTube decides to show this to a whole bunch of other people. So we'll see if they show up here as well. And I think it's 20 minutes or half an hour into the show. That's when you're going to see the poll changes. So right now we're saying most people are saying I like Trump, but not Fuentes. I see 22% saying I hate them both. So it's very interesting. So the poll that I put in on top of the chat says, which one describes you? I like both Trump and Fuentes. So far, nobody has picked that. I like Trump, but not Fuentes. I like Fuentes, but not Trump. And then I hate them both. So it would be good to see what are the views on this channel regarding these two people as we go. So how's my audio, by the way? Everything is good. And also, have you liked the stream already? Have you? Let me know. All right, so let's just get started. Let's go to the beginning.
And so we're going to get into it. We're going to talk first about this primetime address from Donald Trump tonight. We'll set it up. Yesterday, it was announced that Trump would be addressing the nation primetime from the White House tonight. And as of last night, nobody had any clue what the speech would be about. This morning, there was a rumor going around that the speech would be a declaration of war against Venezuela. And this was timed, I think coincidentally, with a war powers resolution voted on in the House of Representatives, which would constrain Trump's ability to declare war. So people said the timing of these two things would suggest that Trump is going to war. Tucker Carlson made an appearance on Judge Andrew Napolitano's show this morning, and he said he was told by a member of Congress that the White House briefed Congress that we were going to war with Venezuela. It would be announced tonight. This was verified by antiwar.com. It was verified by other sources. And everybody tuned in tonight at 8 o'clock Central to see our declaration of war. It didn't happen. Instead, we got a 20-minute speech, 20 minutes exactly, where the president defended his record on the economy and announced a couple of bizarre new initiatives. This is a story about it from the New York Times.
Oh, guys, by the way, I forgot to, I put the wrong graphics at the very top. Let me fix that for now. Let me fix that right away. If I ever have the wrong graphics up, let me know so I could fix it. There we go. Hold on. What happened? Where am I? Oh, yeah. What is it? Why is it not? Why is it putting me at the bottom? That's kind of weird. Oh, no, that's the overlay. I should put that as the. Hold on 1 second. I should put that as a background. Sorry, my mistake. 1 second. Let me fix this. Yeah, if you ever see that the text on the top is not the same as the title, let me know in the chat. Okay, there we go. That's it. Fix it. Okay, so let's continue.
It says, quote, President Trump delivered an 18-minute primetime speech to the nation Wednesday evening, arguing that the economy under his leadership is in better shape than Americans believe. It's so good that, you have to tell everybody how good it is. Nobody knows the economy's good. You have to remind them, hey, I know you feel broke, but you're not. I know you feel like you've gotten poorer. You're wrong. You're better off. You feel good. You feel prosperous now.
But, actually, he's wrong about that. It's actually true that you could be doing better off and feeling worse. That does happen. Actually, Trump is right. But the problem is that no politician should ever say that. It's actually true that Americans are better off if you look at the data, but they feel worse. And at the end of the day, how they feel matters more than what the data actually shows to them. And even if they are better off, coming and telling them that their feelings are wrong is not something a politician should do, because they're not going to appreciate that. So Nick is wrong about this. Trump is correct regarding some of the data, not all of it. But I mean, he has done a lot of things that are bad for the economy, and some other things that are good for the economy. But again, Nick is saying like, oh, people are feeling it, so it must be true. That's very, anti-intellectual and not based on evidence. People's feelings do not always represent what is actually happening. But again, at the end of the day, the level of prosperity and well-being you have is relative to others. People compare it to others, and if they don't like what they see when they compare, that's all that matters, because at the end of the day, their feeling is what we're fighting for.
You're not. I know you feel like you've gotten poorer. You're wrong. You're better off.
Yeah.
You feel good. You feel prosperous now. I think the numbers on Black Friday were something like 90% of people used Klarna, used buy now, pay later to finance their Black Friday purchases. But yeah, no, everything's totally fine. 50-year mortgages, buy now, pay later is super popular.
These are anecdotal. If you want to see how well people are, you have to look if the inflation rate has dropped, and also employment rate. If you look at the employment rate numbers, things in America are pretty good. Just going and giving an example of 50-year mortgages, that doesn't show that Americans are getting worse off.
Our job market is frozen. They didn't even publish the numbers in October. No, but it's great. It's great. Trust.
Job market is not that bad in America. What the fuck is
Trust the plan, idiot. It's actually fine. Gas is 50 cents a gallon. Just trust me. The article goes on. It says,
a lot of that inflation will happen during Biden's time, by the way. And Trump could lower I don't agree with Trump's tariffs, but Trump could, whatever he does, is going to lower inflation rates. It's not going to make them zero or negative. He's never going to be able, no president is going to be able to undo the price increase unless we go through a recession. That's the only way you could undo the price increases. The best they could do is to lower the rate of their increase, but they could never undo. That's not how the economy works.
Building charts and figures, some of them misleading. Mr. Trump tried to make the case that the economy is improving, or at least that the bad parts of it are not his fault. The speech resembled comments Mr. Trump often makes while speaking to reporters in the Oval Office, full of self-praise of his own job performance while disparaging his predecessor, President Joe Biden. But he had a wider audience than usual, with networks interrupting their regularly scheduled programming to carry the remarks. In a surprising moment, Mr. Trump announced what he called a warrior dividend. Cool name, cool stuff. In which checks of $1,776 will be sent to 1.4 million members of the military. The president said the money would come from tariffs that he has levied on goods imported into the country. Just like, remember when he said that the tariffs would pay down the debt? So that was a lie. Then he said the tariffs were going to create a dividend for everybody. And that was a lie too. So now the tariffs are going to pay for a dividend for the troops. Okay, well, what about the rest of us? What about the rest of us that aren't fighting for Israel or whatever?
Fighting for Israel, motherfucker! They're not fighting for Israel. They're fighting for America. Goddamn fucking. So wait, is this guy supposed to be a nationalist, and he doesn't even respect the work that the troops do? I mean, I kind of agree that the tariffs are a mistake. Anybody that understands anything about the economy knows that the tariffs are a mistake. But what is this? What is this? Him dismissing what American troops are doing? This is the new version of nationalism. That you have no respect for what the troops are doing for America. Because, guys, imagine this: you're so anti-Israeli that you have convinced yourself that being America first means that you're against American troops because the wars that they're involved with is aligned with Israeli interests. That's what these people call nationalism. Apparently, this is what America First means: being anti-American troops.
It's a warrior dividend. Great. So the tariffs destroyed the stock market. The tariffs have slowed down the economy. Good news is the troops are going to get a paycheck. Well, there's no one more deserving, right?
Somebody in the chat saying he's not. He's pointing at how Trump is so Israel first, not America first. That is bullshit, by the way. Being supporting Israel is being America first. Being America first means that you understand who your allies are and you support them. That's how you could be America first.
The article goes on. It says, Mr. Trump promised the economy would improve in the next year and that his policies would cause prices on electricity and everything else to fall dramatically. He said mortgage payments will be coming down even further early in the new year. And he said he would announce some of the most aggressive housing reform plans in American history next year. Okay, hopefully so. A recent New York Times analysis of Mr. Trump's approval ratings found a decline in support for Mr. Trump's handling of the economy from July to November. After he was finished speaking, he turned to the press and said, "You think that's easy?" And then took a swig of Diet Coke. He then suggested to those in the room that his chief of staff, Susie Wiles, had told him that he had to deliver the speech. He asked how he had done. Miss Wiles replied, "I told you 20 minutes and you were 20 minutes on the dot." So it's very clear that this was all another trick. This is all just part of the bag of tricks. And I'll tell you what happened. Trump tricked the media and the public into watching this garbage. His approval ratings are in the toilet. His favorability is in the toilet. People's opinion of his job approval, specifically on the economy and immigration, is in the toilet. It's all bad. Trump is unpopular with his own base because of the exit of Marjorie Greene, the handling of the Epstein files, the post about Rob Reiner, the lack of conclusion to the war in Ukraine, lack of mass deportations, lack of law and order from National Guard in the cities. People are not happy with the Trump administration.
By the way, guys, in the chat, let me know which one of these criticisms of Trump that Nick has do you agree with? Like, is there, regardless of whether you're pro-Trump, pro-Nick here, or anti both of them or one of them, is he making any criticism against Trump that is valid? Let me know in the chat.
He's not delivering. All he is doing is talking. Rather than deliver one or any of the promises that he made, he's simply talking them up, trying to convince us that they are certainly happening. So he went and traveled and did a rally.
I mean, like, don't do it all or none. Like, obviously, he's not all. Like, even if you're completely against him, it's impossible for all of his points to be wrong. And even if you're completely for him, it's impossible that he's not making any mistakes. So be a little bit nuanced instead of saying he's completely wrong or he's completely right. Maybe try to pick and choose which one of the points he's making is correct and which ones are not.
He's simply talking them up, trying to convince us that they are certainly happening. So he went and traveled and did a rally last week where he gave basically this exact same speech. And you might not know that that happened, and probably you didn't see it. He went out to a rally last week and gave a big stump speech. He's a lame duck president giving a stump speech, giving a campaign rally, talking about how everything is actually fine. Nobody carried it. Nobody picked it up. Nobody paid any attention. So this is where they hatched this idea. How are we going to get the public to listen to our defense of our catastrophic administration? We will trick them. We will actually just lie to them. So the Trump administration put out through back channels this rumor that Trump was going to war with Venezuela. He put that rumor out, maybe through Congress, maybe through Tucker Carlson, through others.
I mean, do you have any evidence? This is a major allegation. Does he have any evidence for this?
And he tricked us. The mainstream media thought that Trump was going to declare war on Venezuela tonight, so they carried it on the networks.
Maybe they just thought wrong. Like, do you have any proof that the Trump administration did this on purpose?
The American public thought a declaration of war was being made tonight, so people tuned in. And then it was a classic bait and switch. Instead of declaring war on Venezuela, he gave an 18-minute stump speech defending his record and announcing that next year, everything's just going to get better. And this is why everyone hates Trump now. This is why everyone hates Trump. Everyone hates this administration.
Well, not everyone. We see, like in the chat, 17% say I like both Trump and Fuentes. By the way, the 16% that say that they both like both Trump and Fuentes, how do you explain this major disagreement that Fuentes has with Trump? And then we have 37% who say I like Trump but not Fuentes. 17% of you have voted, no, 18% of you have voted that you like Fuentes but not Trump, and 30% have voted that I hate them both. So right now 150 have voted. So keep voting because I want to see what you guys think.
Because it is a scam. It's not even a failure. It's not even an honest failure. It is a scam. We are not getting anything that we have been promised. Think about it. We were promised industrial.
That's bullshit. I mean, I disagree plenty with Trump, but Trump did a really good job with closing the borders against mass migration. He deserves credit for that. Oh yeah. That's the main one.
A scam. We are not getting anything that we have been promised. Think about it. We were promised industrial policy, tariffs, subsidies. They backed down in 1 week.
Oh my God, the tariffs and subsidies are a horrible idea. We want less government involvement. Look at this. This is a horseshoe theory. The conservatives were supposed to be for limited government. So we're complaining about Trump's too much government involvement in trade. These people want more. He's angry with Trump that he hasn't done more, apparently.
Remember Liberation Day, April 2nd. We're going to liberate ourselves from free trade. We're going to have tariffs on every country. They caved in 1 week and then said, oh
my God, this idiot wants more tariffs than what Trump has done.
The whole time it was really just about China. Remember that? Another fake out. They said, we're declaring tariffs on every country in the world. And then when the bond market melted down, they said, never mind. It was really just a big trick. And what we always intended to do was to only have tariffs on China and nobody else. Trump always chickens out. Then he said, we're going to deploy the National Guard to Chicago and LA and Memphis and every major city. And we're going to bring law and order to the streets. Then they said, oh,
what didn't they kind of do that? They did do that.
And what we always intended to do was to only have tariffs on China and nobody else. Trump always chickens out. Then he said, we're going to deploy the National Guard to Chicago and LA and Memphis and every major city. And we're going to bring law and order to the streets.
Well, not every major city, but they did that to a whole bunch of cities.
Then they said, oh, actually, we can't do that. And if we deploy 200 National Guard, that's what we meant. And we're only doing it for 60 days. And it never happened. Trump always chickens out. He said mass deportations.
I mean, he doesn't always chicken out. He did come and bomb the Islamic Republic. That was a big thing. He didn't chicken out on that.
We're going to get all these people back. We're going to deport everybody, the violent criminals first, and then everybody else. 300,000 deportations for the year. He always chickens out.
He closed the border to mass migration. There's almost no more illegal migration from the South coming into America. Does he not deserve credit for that? He deserves credit for that.
Every single thing is a catastrophe. And instead of just being honest about the state of things, instead of actually just recommitting to doing these things that were promised, we get excuses. They just fucking lie. And Trump gets up in a primetime address like he did every week in the first term and said, actually, everything's really going great. And it's like we just live in two different worlds now. We live in two different worlds with MAGA supporters.
I mean, it is going better than most people expected. We were supposed to have a recession, and that kind of didn't happen. And the stock market is doing very well. So, and the inflation was not as bad as so many people expected. I mean, with this much tariff, the fact that the inflation is not even higher is kind of extraordinary. Imagine if he didn't have tariffs, it would have even been better. The job market is doing pretty well. I don't know what you're talking about. What are you comparing it to? You're doing better than most other countries right now. What the hell?
With Trump supporters. In the minds of Trump supporters, 3 million people have been deported, and Trump has ended 8 wars, and inflation is actually...
No, inflation is better than when it was under Biden. So he did manage to bring inflation down, even with the tariffs.
With Trump supporters. In the minds of Trump supporters, 3 million people have been deported, and Trump has ended 8 wars, and inflation is actually down. And
inflation is down. Do these people think inflation down means that the prices are going to lower? Inflation down, because we will always have inflation. We will always have inflation unless something really bad happens to the economy. Inflation down doesn't mean that the prices lower. Inflation down means that prices increase at a lower rate. Like, I think a lot of you like, oh my God, no, prices are still going up. That means inflation is high. No, inflation is lower. That means prices are increasing at a lower rate. I think people don't know how inflation works.
That is what they believe. Even though the war in Ukraine...
But he's right. Trump did bring inflation down.
And Trump has ended 8 wars, and inflation is actually down.
It is down.
And that is what they believe. Even though the war in Ukraine is going on, they will confidently tell you, but Trump ended 8 wars. And what they're referring to is the war between Thailand and Cambodia, not making that up. The war between Rwanda and Congo, not making that up.
Why would you need to make those up? I mean, those are important.
The skirmish between India and Pakistan.
Yeah, why are you making it seem like that's not a big deal? We're talking about 2 nuclear countries. I mean, I don't really know how much Trump deserves credit for that, but yeah, that's actually a pretty big deal for India and Pakistan to stop fighting.
In reality, where we live, the Ukraine war, the actual war, that's still going.
The actual war? So, India and Pakistan going to war with each other is not that big of a deal, apparently. I think that's a bigger deal. I think that would have been a bigger deal if India and Pakistan went to war with each other. Again, I don't know how much Trump deserves credit for any of that. I don't think India and Pakistan were going to war with each other anyways. But yeah, he looks at us, he's like, oh, it's just India and Pakistan. Okay, not a big deal.
Skirmish between India and Pakistan. In reality, where we live, the Ukraine war, the actual war, that's still going on.
Yeah, I mean, he's right about the fact that Trump thought that would be an easy fight to stop, and he was wrong. I mean, we knew this in this channel. You guys remember, we said Trump doesn't understand how Putin is set on taking over Ukraine and most of Eastern Europe, and there's nothing that is going to do it. There's no negotiation that is going to stop that. So Trump is wrong about the nature of the war between Russia and Ukraine. So we were right. We were right. I mean, Trump is wrong about Trump is wrong about thinking that we could get peace by negotiating with Putin, by negotiating with Hamas, and by negotiating with Islamic Republic. He thinks that you could negotiate with Putin, Hamas, and Islamic Republic and end the war, but Israel has the correct understanding that the only way to stop war is by crushing your enemies. There's no negotiating with terrorists. There's no negotiating with Putin either.
The peace in Gaza, that's falling apart and will probably restart anytime soon.
I mean, he's the one to complain. Even if Trump's ideas were wrong regarding how to end wars, you're an isolationist. So you wouldn't even attempt to end those wars, and we will be having more wars around the world. If yours, like, yeah, I disagree with Trump on this, but Nick's ideas are even worse because you wouldn't even try.
But Trump supporters will say, no, but he ended 8 different wars. How much do you want him to do? It's like, I think we elected him to end the war in Ukraine, not the one in Cambodia, actually.
Why not the one in Cambodia? Yep. Why? That's an important conflict. That's actually that's closer to the area where United States should care about, because there's an argument to be made by some people, not me, that the whole Ukraine-Russia war, that's Europe's problem. That's not America's problem. But Thailand and Cambodia, that's basically China's backyard. And US's presence with their allies there is more important to the interests of America, maybe than even the whole Ukraine-Russia situation. So you want to make sure that nobody's fighting anybody else and everybody's on the same page with United States against China as much as possible. And you don't want to introduce any other conflicts in that region. So if anything, you might think that that might actually be more important to the United States.
Oh, but he ended 8 different wars. How much do you want him to do? It's like, I think we elected him to end the war in Ukraine, not the one in Cambodia, actually. Not the border skirmish in Cambodia, you know. You say, where are the mass deportations? They don't even report the figures. The best estimates say it's 300,000, maybe 500,000 at most.
Yeah, the strategy for deportation is wrong. I mean, I respect ICE, and I think they're doing a great job. However, it doesn't, the better strategy, I mean, you need to rely on ICE to some degrees, obviously. However, I think you're not going to be able to get rid of the vast majority of the people in the United States who are illegally in the United States using ICE. The best way, here's my strategy, and this is why I don't understand why this is not obvious. You need to be arresting the CEOs of companies who are hiring illegal immigrants. If you just make an example of a few of them and give them long-term prison sentences, all the other CEOs will just get in line and they will never try anything like this again. And when there is no jobs for illegal immigrants in the United States, they will deport themselves. This will save America so much money because there is self-deportation. If they can't get jobs in America because you just arrested the CEOs that are hiring them, then you don't even have to spend money in sending them out. They will kick themselves out. So that's the best way to get rid of illegal immigration in the United States. But I don't understand why you're not giving credit to the end of mass migration from the South. Like everybody, that's the one thing that Trump has done that is very popular in the United States, and you're not giving him any credit for that. By the way, guys, in the chat, do you guys agree that that's the best way to get rid of mass migration or illegal immigration is by just arresting the CEOs of companies who are hiring illegal immigrants? I think there's nothing more effective than that.
In Trump world, they take a community survey that polled 65,000 households, and they extrapolate that to mean that 3 million people left the country because they were afraid of Trump. Trump deployed National Guard to Washington, D.C. They said, so actually he made good on the promise of restoring law and order. And he comes onto the primetime address and insults our intelligence, defending this record with nonsense. Defensive with these cutesy little rhetorical phrases. We didn't need legislation to close the border. We just needed a new president. Yeah, you know, that was cute like the first 300 times we heard it. Now it's just a joke. So this characterizes everything about the Trump years. The whole thing is a bait and switch. The whole thing is just a never-ending advertisement.
He's just pissed that they're not actually allowing him on the big boys table. I think that's what he's upset about.
We're always fighting. Victory, prosperity is always just around the corner. Even tonight, he announces a check for the veterans. Okay, like honestly, big deal. The tariffs are not bringing in that much money. They're not solving the debt problem at all. They're not bringing back manufacturing. But Trump instead just lies and says, well, actually, we're bringing in so much money, we're going to get rid of income taxes and we're going to pay people money. Well, what happened to Doge cutting the deficit by $2 trillion? What happened to that? What happened to tariffs actually making money from every country? Then he says, well, we're going to cut a check to everybody. Oh, we don't have enough money for that. Now it's a check for the veterans. Now it's a check for the soldiers, and we'll call it a warrior dividend. Warrior. More of this cultural language. The only thing that was substantive in the speech, he talked about an ambitious housing plan next year. Okay, why? It's like you hear that and you go, he does a primetime address to announce that he'll have a housing plan later.
Why do we need a housing plan from the government? Guys, didn't we get the only things that are getting less affordable in the United States are the things that the government is involved in? Basically, housing, education, and healthcare. Everything the government gets involved in becomes more unaffordable. When are people going to realize that the government involvement is not the solution to things not being affordable? I mean, isn't it obvious? Like, look, things are getting more affordable, except the most important things in our lives, which happens to be exactly the areas where the government is more involved in: housing, education, and healthcare. Maybe, I don't know, maybe the answer is getting the government to get the fuck out of these industries. How about that? How about just letting the market do its thing? Huh? Maybe that's the way to get affordability. You want to try that?
Then why announce it now? He comes on 8 o'clock, prime time, tricks everybody into watching. Okay, you've got everybody's attention. You've got a captive audience. What do you have to say? How are we going to turn this around? What's the plan? Well, I am going to change housing. It is the most ambitious, wide-reaching housing reform in American history, and it's almost done.
And his problem is that he should have done it now. So our problem with Trump is that get the fuck out of the housing market, let the free market do its thing. I mean, aren't you guys supposed to be conservatives? Isn't the conservatives supposed to be for limited government? And to the right of Trump, we have people like Nick Fuentes that are like, oh, you should be more involved. Like, what the hell happened to the conservative movement? The one area in United States politics which understood the value of limited government. Now they're competing against it. They're more in favor of government involvement than the Democrats, apparently now.
I'm announcing it next year. Okay, so did you plan on becoming president? I understand if you were surprised that you won the first time, but this is the third time you ran for president. And you should have a pretty good idea of what you want to do when you get in. There's no housing plan. It's not finished yet. Did you not know you needed one during the presidential transition before the election? And why are we announcing it now then? Hey, I have an announcement, everybody. I'm working on a plan for housing. Get ready because it's all going to get better. Okay, but when? And what is it? And what are the details? When are we actually going to see prosperity? And how are they going to get that through the Congress in 2026 when Democrats are having to appease and pander to their base? How's that even going to work? Trump has passed 5 bills this entire year. Every other president, it's like over 100. He's passed 5. He doesn't even have a plan yet, but now next year there's going to be a far-reaching housing plan. We're now going to take affordability later.
Guys, we are so fucked. The younger generation of the conservative movement, their problem with Trump is like, we need a housing plan from the government now, not later. This is so fucked. The left is going Mamdani. The right is competing with each other for more government solution. Whereas we need Reagan. We need Reagan to come and tell you that the government cannot help you. The government cannot help you. The government is only supposed to provide you security. That's the only thing it's supposed to do. Like, what the fuck is this? Why is everything that made America great, both the left and the right is now against?
And the speech isn't even good on top of all this. So first of all, You lie to get us to watch. You lie to our faces that things are going great. You don't even have a plan. Clearly, he knows there's a problem. He knows it's not going well. He knows he needs a reset. He doesn't even have a plan. There's not even an idea. Oh, we'll cut a check to the veterans and the rest to be announced later. There's not even a plan. Insulting us with lies about the state of the economy. And then to add insult to injury, it's not even a good speech. He sounds retarded.
I mean, the speech wasn't very good. He's right about that. The delivery was really off. I don't know. It wasn't a very Trumpy speech. I don't know what was wrong with him.
If you actually watch the speech, he can't even read. He's reading from a teleprompter, and you could see him stumbling maybe a half dozen times in an 18-minute speech. The confidence isn't there anymore. The swagger isn't there. Stuttering, stumbling, weird little riffs, weird little verbal tics, detours he keeps going on. And you say, so the magic is gone too. The substance is gone. The style is gone. He's not delivering. It's not even the same message. And he's not even funny. And now it's not even entertainment. And I see these assholes on Twitter. They say Trump just trolled the media into carrying his primetime address from the White House. The joke is on them. No, the joke is on us. The joke is on us that Trump has tricked us, saber rattling, starting another new war. We tune in. It's insult after insult, lies, and it's not even entertaining on top of it. Who got trolled here exactly, other than anybody that still supports this person, other than anybody that still believes in any capacity that this administration can get something done? So I watched the address.
You know, guys, what was the other thing that we could give Trump credit for? And for his first term, I give him credit for killing Qasem Soleimani. That was a big deal. And also, I give Trump credit I have a lot of criticism for him. I give him credit for how fast they managed to get the vaccines out during Trump's first term for Corona. So that was a big deal. On his second term, the only thing right now that I could think of is how good he was at stopping migration. But what else help me out here? Like, he was really bad in his support for Israel. His support for Israel was not as much as we wanted. He stopped Israel finishing the job in Iran. He's not, as I expected. A lot of people thought that Trump is going to just basically keep giving green rights to Israel to do whatever it wants. He didn't. These fucking retards, Nick Fuentes and his fans, think that Israel is controlling Trump, but it's actually the other way around. Unfortunately, Trump is controlling Israel and not letting Israel do what it knows how to do best, which is basically destroying Islamists. So I don't like the tariffs. I don't like how much Trump is limiting Israel. I don't like how much he's trying to negotiate with Putin and with Hamas and with the Islamic Republic. So what is it that we like? The main thing that I like is how much he managed to stop migration from the South in America. But I don't know. Is there anything else? Give me some. The people who love Trump in the chat, give me a list of other things that I could celebrate from Trump, other than how good he was with mass migration from the South.
It's just another ridiculous show. And I'm ready to be done with the Trump show. And unlike Tucker, I'm not going to do a 180 and say, oh, I don't know what I said. What I meant was, no, this Trump show it's just got to end. I don't know. And I would say he should step down, but then JD Vance is going to become the president. But what do you even do with this at this point? Everything I said has come to pass. Worse even than I imagined. Because I told you in 2024 it would be like this.
I mean, no, actually. Wasn't he one of the people who said that if United States goes into Iran and bombs like the nuclear sites, there's going to be World War III? Was he one of those people, or was that just Tucker Carlson and Dave Smith? Because if he was one of those, then, you fucked up.
I told you this is exactly how it would go. And it was pretty obvious why. Trump had sold out to the donors. on everything, on labor, on immigration, on foreign policy. His cabinet was hand-selected by Susie Wiles, a lobbyist from Florida, and she brought in all the Florida swamp creatures. She handpicked this bullshit cabinet. It should have been absolutely predictable, but somehow it's even worse. I told you a year ago, it's going to be corporate tax cuts, war for Israel. The war in Ukraine is not going to end. No mass deportations. It's going to be more permanent bureaucrats running out the clock. They're not going to move with the urgency, the swiftness that they need to. And in the end, all it's going to do is bring the left down harder upon us. Let's say the Democrats win in 2028, which if they appoint an actually viable candidate, we're in trouble. We kind of got lucky in 2024, wouldn't you say?
I mean, you shouldn't be complaining. You said that you would be working with the progressives as long as they're anti-Jewish like you. You shouldn't be having any problem with the progressives. So what are you complaining about?
We got lucky that Joe Biden is demented. We got lucky that his successor, Kamala Harris, was somehow more unpopular than him. Joe Biden was barely alive. Kamala Harris had never won a single contest, a caucus, a primary, has never won any kind of contest in a national election. Add to that Trump had the full weight of the Israel lobby and little tech, and he got shot in the ear. And
Israel lobby? What Israel lobby? Guys, there is no Israel lobby in the United States. What the fuck are you talking about? There's AIPAC. AIPAC are American Jews. And by the way, AIPAC is a tiny lobby. I hope you guys understand that. AIPAC is a tiny lobby. The lobby that you need to worry about in the United States is Saudi Arabia's lobby, Qatar's lobby, and the UAE's lobby. Who the fuck? Like, you guys are retarded. Go look at the size of AIPAC and how small it is compared to other lobbies. The dentistry lobby is bigger than AIPAC. And AIPAC is not even Israeli. It's American Jews. It's American lobby. Israel doesn't have a lobby in the United States.
Had the iconic moment that changed the course of history.
Yeah, people are saying, no, you're wrong. Okay, yeah, exactly. Yabs, ask them to name the lobby. Where is Israel's lobby in the United States? What the fuck are you talking about?
Kind of got lucky that Trump had the full weight of the Israel lobby.
Why are you guys so selective? Why are you guys worried about the tiny little American AIPAC lobby with so little influence? And none of you are crying about, none of you are complaining about the impact of Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and the UAE, which is like much bigger on US politics.
And little tech, and he got shot in the ear and had the iconic moment that changed the course of history. So we kind of got lucky in 2028, just like we got lucky in 2016. If the Democrats put up a halfway decent candidate in 2028 that doesn't alienate white people, that isn't super woke and isn't super cringe, we're going to get absolutely destroyed. And you know what's going to happen when they win? They're not going to fuck around like we are. They're not going to hire Rachel Maddow to run the FBI. They're not going to appoint a bunch of idiots to run the cabinet. They're going to hire the best judges, the best lawyers, the best law enforcement, and they are going to literally kill us. They are literally going to take away all of our civil liberties. They're going to throw us in jail.
Well, I mean, they can't literally kill all of you and then put you in jail. One of these has to be figuratively, because if you're dead, then you can't put you in jail. What the fuck are you talking about? And no, that's not going to happen.
Because you see that Trump is barking up the wrong tree here. He is weaponizing the DOJ against James Comey, Barack Obama, Letitia, what is her name? Letitia James, Jackson, whatever. The way that Trump is going after his enemies, the way that he is inciting them and basically just antagonizing the radical left. He is inviting a brutal retaliation. So if we don't get lucky in 2028, they're almost certainly getting back in power. They will wield executive power. They'll have the House, maybe not the Senate. And unlike Republicans, they're not going to screw around. They're going to come to get us. So people say, well, why don't you just trust the plan? Why don't you just be patient? Well, we're trying our best. Trump needs to be acting like a literal dictator. You either need to be a dictator or you need to make peace with the left. But you can't do this thing in the middle where you pretend to be a dictator, but
how the fuck can Trump be a dictator? The Constitution doesn't allow it. The U.S. institutions doesn't allow it. This is why America is a republic with strong institutions to defend the public against these radical motherfuckers. You know, this is exactly what these retards want. They want a dictator. But the good thing about the American, political system is that it has managed to create barriers for anything like that to be able to take place, to take control. This is why America is a superior country, because even if you vote for a president that wants to be a dictator, America just doesn't let it. This is why you need to, more than the president, you as an American, you should be fighting for protection of your institutions, the institutions and the values and the Constitution that has made sure that no dictator would be able to come and take control. So yeah, Trump needs to be a dictator. Trump cannot become a dictator because America is stronger than Trump. Even if Trump wanted to be a dictator, he couldn't be a dictator because the president doesn't have that power in the United States. And this is why the strength of your institutions matters so much. This is why if you want to call yourself conservative, then decide, what am I conserving? And the thing that you need to be conserving is the institutions and in the United States, in your government, in your politics, that protects you from anything like this happening, any power like this taking control. You need to be conserving your Constitution because it is the greatest Constitution ever written. And it has made your nation state the best nation state ever to have been created. And you need to be conserving the values, not the classical liberal values, the Enlightenment values, the Western values that people like Nick Fuentes and Mamdani are against. This person actually wants tyranny. What can be more anti-American than that? Look at this. He has a hat over there saying like America first. He starts with his show with a logo that says America first. When you say I want Trump to be a dictator, what is more anti-American than that? At the foundation, the genesis of America, the story of America is anti-tyranny. That the whole point of America becoming a country was to stand up against tyranny. There's nothing that you could say that is more anti-American than that. How is that America first? That is America last. That is anti-American.
Needs to be acting like a literal dictator. You either need to be a dictator or you need to make peace with the left. But you can't do this thing in the middle where you pretend to be a dictator, but you're not one. Because like I said, all that is doing is inviting a retaliation, and Trump might be fine. If he pardons himself preemptively, he'll be okay. It's us that's going to pay the price. It's Elon that'll pay the price. It's everybody that helped Trump ever. They're going to pay the price from a new Democrat administration. They're going to help all their allies. They're going to punish all their enemies because we didn't do that when we had the power. So this is very frustrating. It's very hard to watch because this is just a squandered opportunity. You actually had the ability to achieve a golden age if Trump was halfway serious, but people just didn't want to see the flaws. People were so caught up in the hype, so whipped up in the moment. All these stupid political cocksuckers, they were being paid under the table by super PACs, the party itself, whatever, paid as consultants, paid as nonprofits. All these political idiots were basically paid, or they didn't care. They looked the other way. They gassed everybody up. They were all in on Trump. Nobody pointed out the flaws. And now we're stuck with this nonsense for 4 years, and then we're all going to die.
Oh, my God.
And I'm not trying to be melodramatic about that.
Oh, no.
But we have been absolutely screwed. And the reason I keep saying I told you so is because this reflects a feature in the Republican Party. I said all of this last year, and I made a very rational case. I made the arguments. And on some level, everybody kind of knew this. But The people that influence the conversation on social media don't care. They don't read. They don't know anything. And they don't care about the outcome.
I mean, you're one to talk. You don't even understand. Maybe you should do some reading, Nick, because if you had any understanding about political philosophy and the history of how America became such a great nation, you wouldn't be advocating for anything that you're advocating for. Anybody that with a basic understanding of the history of politics and political philosophy and political science and the history of your own country and the history of Western civilization would know that all the ideas that you stand for are against everything that made America great.
They're also being paid, and they didn't disclose that they were being paid. So I had guys like Elijah Schaffer. I'll name some names. I had guys like Elijah Schaffer confronting me at CPAC this year. So I don't get it. Why didn't you support Trump? Well, hey, buddy, do you know now? He tells me, I don't watch your show. I don't have time. Why don't you like Trump? Well, maybe if you watch his show, maybe if you cracked open a book once in a while, maybe if you read something instead of just take.
Okay, well, I'll give you a book. Read this book to see what values make a society better off, what increases well-being in a society. Enlightenment Now by Steven Pinker. Read this book. Hold on, we got a super chat. Yabs is saying China and Qatar are the biggest lobbies in America. They stand behind all the pro-Palestine and the gender war you have now in college. But AIPAC, who gave Trump $40,000, really? That's it? Is the problem? Sure, buddy. Really? Is it that low? I thought it was higher, and even if it was higher, that would still be low. Guys, AIPAC is a very small lobby, like very small lobby. I don't know if it's actually that low, but you're right. Like Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and guys, the new way of doing lobbying is to just directly give money to Trump these days. That's how you do lobbying these days, to Trump's family at least, or just buy his meme coin.
Money from India and El Salvador, maybe you'd know why I didn't support Trump. Maybe you wouldn't be finding out a year later like everybody else. And he's just one example. And I like Elijah. I consider him a friend. But I'm calling him out on his irresponsibility, just like I'll call out a lot of people that in the end went for Trump because they wanted to brown nose. They wanted a job in the campaign. They wanted a job in the admin on this sinking fucking ship. They wanted a title. They didn't want to be left out or left behind. They didn't want the FOMO. So they said, I'm going to support Trump. I got to get in on this. I know that it's not exciting. And they lied to themselves. And many of them lied to you. They took money under the table and they lied to you. And they pretended like this administration was going to be great. And honestly, the whole thing is, when I say a scam, I mean, they're looting the government.
Now,
these cabinet officials, they are fucking corrupt. They're looting the government. What did Trump do when he won? He put out a shit coin and told everybody to buy it on social media. And that
is a shitty thing to do, and I hate that Trump did that. But that is not looting the government. That's basically a pump dump scheme that he did on the people who bought it. That is not. He didn't steal from the government. He stole from people who bought. I mean, he didn't steal. He can't, because they should have known that this is a shit coin. He basically tricked the people who bought it, and also provided a vehicle for people who wanted to support him to just be able to support him directly. By the way, guys, do you know that how much richer Trump has become in his second term? Like the amount of wealth that Trump has now because of his meme coin, and also because of the other ways that people are directly providing support for his family, especially from Arab countries around the Persian Gulf. His wealth is now much more, even though he was a billionaire. The wealth that he has right now is much more compared to what he had before his second term. He has immediately become much richer than what he was, which is crazy for a billionaire to be able to multiply their wealth, because usually billionaires, they don't just become, rich. They don't multiply their wealth after they become billionaires. But he has done it using the presidency. But again, yeah, it's not looting from the government. It's still wrong, though.
They're looting the government.
No,
what did Trump do when he won? He put out a shit coin and told everybody to buy it on social media. And that is now more than 50% of his net worth. You fucking stupid idiot. Trump got elected, put out a shit coin. All of his followers bought it. And then he sold and made literally billions of dollars. And you don't think that all of his cronies did exactly the same thing? You don't think that all of the insiders, many of them Jewish, at Mar-a-Lago, you don't think they profited from that as well? Of course they did.
The problem with that is that there's nothing in the law that was against what he did. The whole idea that the president is not supposed to financially benefit from being in office, that is just the norm, not written into law. It's just like agreed upon and Trump has challenged everything that was the norm in politics in the United States, but not written into law. But given that it wasn't written in law, technically he didn't do anything illegal.
Talk about an omen. Talk about a red flag. Gee, I wonder if Trump is going to scam us again. I wonder if Trump is going to screw us again.
Yeah, by the way, I don't agree with it. I think just because it was legal, I'm not saying it wasn't a shitty thing to do. It is a shitty thing to do, but not illegal.
And then he puts out a shit coin, everybody buys it, and he literally rug pulls you and leaves you holding the bag like any other celebrity, like any other.
I mean, but it is a shitty thing to do, but I bet you there's none of you guys would say no to $1 billion just because it's a shitty thing to do while being legal. Like if you say like, hey, this is legal, but it's a shitty thing to do, and you will make $1 billion if you do it. I bet you anybody here virtue signaling, the vast majority of you would do it for $1 billion if it's legal.
Crypto scammer, and you thought you were going to get your mass deportations? This whole thing needs to be burned to the ground, figuratively. Not literally, but this whole thing needs to be burned to the ground. You're not mad enough. You're not angry enough. You're not pissed off enough. You people are not tired of eating shit yet. People are still gobbling this stuff up. Ha, ha, ha. Trump trolled them into carrying his address. Ha, ha. Trump said Somalians are garbage. What a laugh. What a riot. You stupid idiot. And what do you think is going to happen? And at the end of these 4 years,
he would be celebrating it. He like, oh, you guys are idiot to get happy when Trump speaks bad about Somalis. He would be celebrating it if Trump had said the exact same things about the Jews. He calls Trump supporters idiots for being happy about Trump calling out the Somali population in the United States. But I bet you anything that if he said those things against the Jews, this man would be celebrating. This man would be celebrating.
Off enough. You people are not tired of eating shit yet. People are still gobbling this stuff up. Ha, ha, ha. Trump trolled them into carrying his address. Ha, ha. Trump said Somalians are garbage. What a laugh. What a riot. You stupid idiot. And what do you think is going to happen? And at the end of these 4 years, Springfield, Ohio is still going to be filled with Haitians, and Minneapolis is still going to be filled with Somalis. I will bet you $10 billion fucking dollars that is the case. Would you take me up on that? Absolutely not, because you know as well as I do, those people aren't going anywhere. They're going to put another Nicky Knack 300 National Guard and ICE and Border Patrol in Minneapolis. They're going to have them doing a bunch of poses for social media video edits, and then they're going to go home. Some stupid liberal's going to put their middle finger in their face. They're going to get trolled on social media, and then they're going to go home. And Trump is going to say mission accomplished, because that's exactly what happened in Chicago. They had this, what do they call it? Operation Midway Blitz. Operation Midway Blitz. What did they call it? Alligator Alcatraz, hey, Bal. And then what did they deport? 1,000 fucking people? They went to LA with the National Guard, and in the end, they deported 1,000 people. You had liberals storm the detention facility, and they found it was empty. Liberals stormed the detention facilities where illegal immigrants are being concentrated, and it was empty. Like, if that doesn't tell you what this administration is. Liberals think there's another Holocaust. They think that ICE is the new Gestapo, Trump is the new Hitler, illegals are the new Jews, and they are literally being whipped up. They think it's another Holocaust. That's why you have snipers blowing people's heads off. That's why you have terrorist attacks being plotted against this country, because they think it's Nazi Germany, and they're not even deporting anybody. The detention facilities are empty. In the end, who is that guy that they deported to El Salvador and the judges made them bring him back? What was that guy's name? Something Garcia?
I'm pretty sure we had more deportations than that. Am I wrong about this? Is acting like we could basically ask AI about this, huh? Okay. How many deportations have we had under Trump's second term presidency? And compare that to previous presidents. Get to the point. So I'm going to get it to Pro Model, but it's going to take time to gather that information. So let's look at this.
They made the Trump administration bring him back. Hey, listen up, Garcia, Kilmar, Alberto Garcia. You have 100 days until you get deported. And then you have 50 days until you're brought back. All these illegal.
Okay, guys, look at this. Nick is wrong. So average per year for Trump's second term is 600,000, 622,000. Under Biden, it was 136,000. So 600,000 under Trump's second term and only 136 under Biden. Under Obama, it was 343,000. That's a big number. So Nick is full of shit. That was so easy to check. Let me see, double check. Okay, I'm impressed actually. Here's another thing. I thought that I was believing Nick for some fucking reason that the deportation numbers were low, and I was going to give credit Trump just for stopping illegal migration from coming in, but not for deportations. But apparently, he's full of shit. Trump did actually do a good job in increasing deportation during his second term. So the numbers I have is 622,000 for Trump's second term, 136,000 for Biden, 234 for Trump's first term, and 343,000 for Obama. And these are per year. These are not even total. These are per year. That is pretty good. I mean, I'm not a big Trump fan, but that is pretty good.
Alien farm workers, you have 200 days to get the fuck out of our country. And then you have a 30-day grace period to lawfully come back in, and we will give you an H-1A visa.
Guys, look at this. You shouldn't believe Nick. Nick is giving you false information. He's giving you false numbers. He's full of shit. It's so easy to fact check these things. He's just like, if you're a Nick fan, you're just watching his shows and he's giving you garbage information and you just believe it without checking.
And we will set you up in the Four Seasons Hotel because that's what Brookie wants. That's what Brooke Rollins at Agriculture wants, because she has a better relationship with Trump than Kristi Noem, because that's our idiot cabinet, America First Policy Institute. How many people were complicit in this? All of these people are complicit. They are all going to parties wearing tuxedos where people are not invited. No, but all these people, they're making money. All these people in politics, Trump included, Kristi Noem, Corey Lewandowski. These people are all making money, effectively, allegedly selling titles, like doing corrupt things that powerful people do. They're all securing their retirement while they loot the country, while they dare the left to kill us. And then when the left comes to power, we're going to be the ones holding the bag. That's why it is a disgrace. It is a disgrace. And everybody that shilled for Trump, like, you can just never trust them again. Anybody that was pro-Trump, you know, I don't care if they were well-intentioned or not, you can just never trust them again. Anybody that said, oh, I told people to vote for Trump, Tucker and Candace included, we had a chance to turn this around. It was during the election. It was during the, you want to call Trump out, call him out when he needs your damn vote. Trump was saying all this a year ago about H-1B visas, about stapling green cards to
Trump is, oh, okay, I found something else that I like about Trump. I like Trump's support for the fact that we do need the H-1B visas. So yeah, we need to get the garbage people out, and we need to get the best of the world in. That's what you need to do. You know, if you want to be competitive with the rest of the world, you need to brain drain the rest of the world. That's how every country that is putting its citizens first does. It avoids bringing in people who are going to be a drain on society, and then it goes and tries to find the best of the best in every other country, all the people that their government has spent the most resources on, their society has spent the most resources on, and they go whoop and grab them and bring them into your society, and basically all the benefits without the cost. I mean, I know the H-1B visa is not being used properly, and it needs to be fixed, but it makes sense for you to have that. It makes sense for you to go find the best talent from all around the world and bring it to your country. That makes a lot of sense. You know, these isolationists don't get you need to be against mass migration, you need to be against illegal migration, and you also need to be against legal migration from Islamic countries, from shithole countries. Except if you could find the best of the best. They're basically, they're experts, the 1% top, you know, they're geniuses, or they're leaders of their industry. That's what you need to go bring to America. And the H-1B visa needs to be exactly for that. That's what, you know, and you fucking idiots don't understand that. Trump understands that. Again, not a big Trump fan, but I found a third thing right now that I agree with Trump in, his support for the H-1B visa.
Everybody that shilled for Trump, like, you can just never trust them again. Anybody that was pro-Trump, you know, I don't care if they were well-intentioned or not, you can just never trust them again. Anybody that said, oh, I told people to vote for Trump, Tucker and Candace included, we had a chance to turn this around. It was during the election. It was during the, you want to call Trump out, call him out when he needs your damn vote. Trump was saying all this a year ago about H-1B visas, about stapling green cards to diplomas. He was not serious about mass deportations a year ago. He was talking.
I mean, I looked at the numbers. He seems to be he seemed like, based on the numbers I just looked at, this was the most serious deportation president of the United States.
About bombing Iran a year ago.
Wait, what? Okay, he's mentioning my country, so I need to pay attention.
To turn this around, it was during the election. It was during the, you want to call Trump out, call him out when he needs your damn vote. Trump was saying all this a year ago about H-1B visas, about stapling green cards to diplomas. He was not serious about mass deportations a year ago. He was talking about bombing Iran a year ago.
So it's not bombing Iran, it's bombing the Islamic Republic. And the problem with the bombing the Islamic Republic was that he used it as an excuse to stop Israel from continuing the war. We celebrated. We said the day that Trump decided to come and help Israel and bomb Natanz and Fordo and the nuclear site in Isfahan, we went live and we were excited. We became MAGA for a day. We became MAGA for a day. We were basically celebrating. We're like, oh my God, Trump is supporting Israel 100%. They're coming in and they're helping. This is fantastic. Let's go. Let's go. And then we were disappointed because we realized that that was just an excuse to pressure Israel to end a war that Israel was going very well. The war that was almost bringing about the end of the Islamic Republic. And Trump came and was like, yep, I came and bombed the nuclear site, so nothing else is needed. Get your pilots out of here and let's stop this war. So yeah, that was not good. But again, Nick's problem with that was that is the opposite of ours. Nick is like, you shouldn't you shouldn't be involved at all. We want, I mean, we would have welcomed Trump getting involved if it was with the intention of helping Israel finish the job, not stopping Israel. Oh, let me see. We got a super chat here. By the way, if you're American, we don't want America to come and help Israel against the Islamic Republic. Don't worry, we're not going to promote dragging, like this channel is not going to promote dragging America into another war. The only thing we promote here on this channel is for America to just let Israel do its thing without getting in the way, okay? Because that's what America is doing. America is getting in the way. So we're just asking for you don't have to, you could sit this one out, okay? You don't have to send any troops. You don't have to send any 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 planes or anything. None of your soldiers have to be risked. None of your resources have to be wasted in another head-to-head war with another regime. Okay, just give the green light to Israel and let them do what they do best. Okay. So let me see. We got a super chat saying, according to DHS, 600,000 deported, 1 million left on their own, 400K came in illegally, lowest since the 70s. Okay, that's pretty good. And that number also matches the number that I read. So 1 million left on their own. See, when you remove the incentives, they just leave. So 600K reported, 1 million, 400K came in illegally, lowest since it. That's pretty good. That's a pretty good record. Nick Fuentes, look at this. This is a pretty good record. So yeah, we should give Trump credit for that. When it comes to migration, Trump's record is pretty good. Again, I'm against Trump's tariffs. I'm against Trump standing in the way of Israel, but his immigration record is 10 out of 10 in my opinion.
The time to call him out on it was last year when they needed something from us, when they needed our vote. But all of you people told yourselves, well, we'll figure that out later. Okay, well, it's later. And the speech tonight said, oh, it's coming later. It's always just a year away. Not for Israel, not for the billionaires, not for the oligarchs. For them, they get their tangible benefit today on a silver platter. For all of us voters, we're waiting for next year, always.
What do you mean you're waiting for next year? Your situation is like, have you guys seen the rest of the world? How ungrateful do you have to be? You guys are doing pretty good. What the fuck is wrong with you?
So that's your primetime address. I don't know how people even find it funny. It's not funny. The whole thing's a big joke. The whole thing is a big, stupid joke. And you understand why Marjorie Taylor Greene quit. Because it's like, and I understand.
Oh, we got a correction. Sheldon saying correction, 1.9 million left on their own. That's pretty impressive.
And people like her son is getting death threats. Her family's getting death threats. She's trying to make good on the promises, and she's being attacked by the president, sicking his supporters on her. And you go, okay, so what are we even fighting for then? If the leader is not even pushing the principles of America first, if he's going to...
Principles of America first? Motherfucker, you're the most anti-American thing I've ever seen in my entire life. Who are you to speak about America first? Because there is, I mean, I don't know, maybe Mamdani is more anti-American than you. It's really hard to pick. Between you, Mamdani, and an Islamist, I don't know what's more anti-American. Probably you, because you are the most anti-American thing, because at least they can be identified as a foreign invasion. You're more like a Trojan horse that is hard to identify as anti-American. I mean, they at least look anti-American. You don't even look anti-American, and you are anti-American. So this is why you're actually more dangerous.
Endorse Lindsey Graham, but attack Marjorie Greene. If he's going to open up the floodgates for the Chinese to fund the universities, and he's attacking me for saying that's not a good idea, then why are we suffering like this? Now, the difference is that Marjorie didn't know what she was really fighting for. In her mind, she thought she was fighting for Trump and MAGA. I never made that mistake. I'm fighting for this movement. I'm fighting for America first. And if Trump will be America first, then we're with Trump. And if he's not, then we're not. And that's why we can't be absolutely beholden to anybody. That's why our loyalty actually comes with a price tag. You want support from the Groypers? You want support from me? You want support from America first? You have to give us something. I don't have a jersey on. I'm not under a contract. I'm not being paid under the table by these people. You want me to shill for Trump and not Gavin Newsom? You want me to shill for Trump and not Kamala? Give me something. Give us something tangible. We have a price, just like Elon Musk has an ask, just like Miriam Adelson has an ask. We have an ask as well. And that's a difference between people that are serious and people that are being strung along and turned out like political whores. Marjorie Greene, making these deals, she thinks she's a genius. She thinks that she's making moves. You're not making moves. You're being used. You are being instrumentalized by them. And you think that's influence. They use you and you think that's influence. They tell you what to do. They tell you what to support. You have no say in it. You have no independent following, no independent base of support, and you think that's influence. That's a mirage. So that's why we have to absolutely steel ourselves going into 2026 and 2028. You and me have to steel ourselves. We cannot ever allow it to happen again. We can let the Republican Party lose. And they will squeal like pigs. And they will say, you're going to make us lose. You're with the Democrats. Nick Fuentes is an operative. They're going to say all this kind of stuff. Remember how you feel now when they say that. Fuck you. They're going to tell us in 26, just like they.
I mean, guys, this is probably true. They like whoever is telling that to the Groypers are probably right. This fight between the conservatives is probably going to get us like a Mamdani-like president at some point in the White House. These people are too divided. I mean, honestly, the other side is too divided as well. Guys, what do you think is more likely? Are we going to get a Groyper president or a Mamdani-like president? Which one is more likely in the next election?
In 24, they're going to say, we got to hold the line. I know it's not all it's cracked up to be. I know we didn't deliver on everything, but hey, it's not all bad. They're going to say that. And in 2026, you need to be ready to say, well, that sounds like a you problem. They're going to tell you Republicans can't afford to lose the House. You're going to have to say, that sounds like a you problem. You should have thought of that when you put together this big, beautiful bill and it was a piece of shit legislation. You should have thought of that when you didn't deport 2 million people in 2 years. You should have thought of that when you brought in those
2 million people in 2 years. The numbers that we saw is actually more than that. If you include the self-deportation ones that Trump has encouraged, he actually has met your standards and more.
600,000 Chinese students. Do those people vote? You should have thought of that when you said you need 600,000 Chinese students to pay the universities. Are the universities going to vote? Go ask them for their vote. Go ask the 600,000 Chinese students for their vote. Go ask the Ivy League universities.
Okay, never mind.
For their vote, because you're keeping them in business by doing that. Go ask the illegal immigrant farmers and the illegal immigrants that work in hospitality. Go ask for their vote because you protected their right to live here illegally. That's who you're looking out for. So what are you talking to me for? You're telling me Republicans are going to lose? That sounds like a you problem. Go tell the people you actually defend. Go talk to Elon Musk. Go talk to Sam Altman. Go ask to Ken Griffin. Go talk to BlackRock and Blackstone. You go and talk to them, Larry Fink, and you explain to them that
this guy thinks he's more powerful than all of these people that he just mentioned combined? Like, oh, don't come to us, go to them. You just listed, okay. Like, they're going to be so desperate for you while they have all these people that you mentioned. I mean, the illegals, they can't even vote, so I don't even know what you're talking about. But some of the entities that you mentioned are more powerful than you.
Republicans are going to get devastated in the midterms and how bad it's going to be. Because you had your chance. You had the House. You had the Senate, the White House, the Supreme Court. It was supposed to be a golden age. Remake the federal judiciary or the federal bureaucracy. They said, Section F, we're going to fire 50,000 people. We're going to move fast and break things. We're going to cut the deficit. They didn't do any of it. Where's my National Guard? Where's my tariffs? Where's my austerity? Where's my...
Oh my God, these people are actually begging for tariffs. What the fuck is wrong with
break
these
things?
people?
We're going to cut the deficit. They didn't do any of it.
Guys, we have some educational political classes for our members, and at some point during those classes, I'm going to explain to our members why tariffs suck. Okay?
Where's my National Guard? Where's my tariffs? Where's my austerity? Where's my savings in waste, fraud, and abuse in the deficit? Where's my mass deportations? Where's my America First labor policy? Where the fuck is it?
Thank you so much for the super sticker. I appreciate that. Wait, let's actually go through the list of...
You come by savings in waste, fraud, and abuse. They didn't do any of it.
Let's go through the list.
Where's my National Guard? Where's my tariffs? Where's my austerity? Where's my
austerity? Okay.
Savings in waste, fraud, and abuse in the deficit? Where's my mass deportations? Where's
you got your mass deportation? Go look at the numbers.
My America First labor policy? Where the fuck is it?
America First labor? You mean isolationism? America First labor policy should be that you let the free markets and free trade decide what industries are done in America and what industries are supposed to be done outward. You out in other places. You just let your competitive advantage of your country decide which industries you keep in America and which industries you allow to go extinct by competition, because some other countries have the competitive advantage on that, so that you spend the resources of your country mostly in the areas that you have a comparative advantage of. In fact, that's the best thing to do. If you have industry A and industry B, and industry B is getting destroyed in international competition, in global competition by another country, you should let it get destroyed so that the resources of your country gets focused on building industry A, where you're killing it compared to other countries. In fact, the insistent on supporting labor in your country by supporting both of these industries is exactly what keeps you behind. Again, these are Econ 101, and this retard doesn't understand this, because he tells his audience to go read a book. But if you read just a macroeconomics 101, he would be able to understand this, and he has it. It's obvious he has it.
You come back asking for more? You come back asking for another vote in 26, and if I say no, that's my fault? I'm the problem, and they'll do it again in 28. And that's why, a lot of people say the show's a black pill, the show is negative. I need you to feel this. I need you to feel it in your bones. I need you to feel it in your heart. You have been betrayed. This is treachery. You have been betrayed. Things are not going well for you. It is going well for them. They don't even care. They are giddy. They are giddy. They are gleeful. Tucker and Candace told you to vote for Trump. Are they hurting? No. They're making more money than ever. Tucker just bought a new house in Doha. Candace Owens cannot contain her joy. She told you to vote for this nonsense.
Did he? Is that true? Did Tucker Carlson bought a new house in Doha? That cannot be right. Is that right? That is too on the nose. That is too obvious. He must be joking. That cannot be. Oh, yes, he did. Oh my God. The grift is strong with this one. Oh my God. Yeah, he has. Holy shit. This okay, fucking hell. This guy cannot get any more pro-Qatari than this. What? Unbelievable. Yeah, Nailbun is saying he's going to be saying his Shahada soon. Yeah. Holy fuck, they grift. Oh my God. Fucking hell. Jesus Christ. Yeah, and the Jews are the problem, guys. The Jews are don't look at Qatar. Don't look at how Qatar is trying to influence. They did this with you on the far left. Now they're also doing this on the far right. Yeah, but the problem is the Jews' involvement in the media, apparently. Okay.
Trump and all of his cronies made probably billions of dollars off of the Trump shitcoin. How are you doing? How are you handling the increase in Netflix and Disney Plus subscription costs? How are you handling?
Oh my God, oh my God. I'm pretty sure your audience pirates all of those anyways. What the fuck are you talking about? That's the thing that you're complaining about? Netflix cost? Okay, so how are you doing? Your Netflix okay, so you're actually more like Tucker and Candace, because that shows that you cannot relate with your audience, or at least the people hurting in America, because their issue is housing, education, and healthcare, not Netflix. Unbelievable. And also the price for entertainment has actually lowered in America in the past 50 years. It's housing, education, and healthcare that has gone up because of government involvement. The price for entertainment, per unit of entertainment, you're actually paying less dollars than 20 years ago, 30 years ago, and 50 years ago. So that is not a good example.
Probably billions of dollars off of the Trump.
So like, look at this. He's like, oh my God, Tucker doesn't understand you. Candace doesn't understand you. I mean, he's rich himself, and he thinks people's issues are because Netflix costs have gone up. The issue some people have is that they cannot pay their rent, not because somebody who's complaining about Netflix costs does it. Okay, never mind.
Candace Owens cannot contain her joy. She told you to vote for this nonsense. Trump and all of his cronies made probably billions of dollars off of the Trump shitcoin. How are you doing? How are you handling the increase in Netflix and Disney?
Well, how are you doing, Nick? You're doing very well. You're also scamming your audience and making a lot of money from
plus subscription costs. How are you handling the increase in prices across the board?
Guys, prices always increase. The ideal inflation is 2.2%, 2.1%, or 2. So the ideal inflation rate is something that prices will still meet. It means that prices will still increase. Guys, you wouldn't want a deflationary economy. That's actually worse. If inflation was in the negative, meaning that prices were going down, that would be a disaster. If you think prices going down is a good thing, you don't understand how the economy works. What you want is not too high of an inflation, but you want some level of inflation. Inflation around 2% is ideal. And inflation around 2% means that the prices are still going up. So what do you mean? Oh, how do you like prices going up? Prices are supposed to go up. Prices going down means that something really ugly has happened to the economy. So what you need to look at is not whether prices are increasing. You have to look at how much prices are increasing, by what rates the prices are increasing. So an inflation of 10%, 5%, 6% is bad. But an inflation of 2% is good. You guys don't understand this. This is basic. These are basic economics, and you're commenting on this stuff. Oh, by the way, thank you so much. I already read that one, didn't I? Salome, thank you so much for the super sticker. Oh, 2 super stickers. Appreciate that. Oh my God, thank you so much for the generous super sticker. Guys, I'm going to be doing courses on these topics because I don't understand why people don't know these things. These are like, did you guys not take Econ 101 in your college or whatever?
4.5%, 5% interest rate on a mortgage. How are you handling that? Did you use buy now, pay later for Black Friday? Do you feel like we live in a safer, more white country?
Well, what you shouldn't be. Like, I mean, guys, if you do buy now, pay later, then you shouldn't be blaming the government. You should be blaming yourself. Like, what happened to accountability? And, and this isn't one of the conservative values, the idea that I am responsible for my mistakes as well. I shouldn't be just blaming. Isn't this victimhood mentality? If you're doing buy now, pay later, then you're living beyond your means, and nobody should be blamed for that except you. What? How is that the government's fault if you're buying something that you can't afford? What the fuck? Are we gonna blame the government because you put things on credit cards as well without having the money to pay for it? Is that the government's fault? Look at this victimhood mentality. Isn't this like leftist tactics? Anybody that does buy now, pay later, if they're in debt, they have only themselves to blame. Why do you needed that bigger TV? Like, was that really necessary? At least talk about things that people like rent, like maybe like talk about food prices, maybe talk about health care prices, shit like that.
You handling the increase in Netflix and Disney Plus subscription costs? How are you handling the increase in prices across the board? 4.5%, 5% interest rate on a mortgage. How are you handling that? Did you use buy now, pay later for Black Friday? Do you feel like we live in a safer, more white country with fewer immigrants than we did a year ago? Absolutely.
He was sounding exactly like Mamdani until he said white. Everything else he's saying is Mamdani like talking point.
Subscription costs. How are you handling the increase in prices across the board?
By the way, guys, if I'm gonna say something very unpopular, okay, but America is actually pretty affordable to live. Okay, it's only like, I know this is going to get a lot of hate from some Americans, but it's only unaffordable if you are insisting in living in New York or San Francisco. And like, yeah, I'm not going to move. Then yeah, it's unaffordable. Okay, if you want to be like, I'm going to stay in New York and I'm not going to move. All right. But America as a whole is pretty affordable. There are many other places in America to live that is not New York or San Francisco or Seattle.
Shitcoin. How are you doing? How are you handling the increase in Netflix and Disney Plus subscription costs? How are you handling the increase in prices across the board? 4.5%, 5% interest rate on a mortgage. How are you handling that? Did you use buy now, pay later for Black Friday? Do you feel like we live in a safer, more white country with fewer immigrants than we did a year ago? Absolutely not.
You should be, because you actually do have fewer immigrants. You do. I mean, their skin color doesn't matter. Their shit values matter. Their shit culture matters. Their skin color doesn't matter, like you're focusing on. And yeah, you actually do have fewer immigrants thanks to Trump.
So you need to live in this. You need to, I'm not one of these people that's cheerful, rah, rah, rah. Hey guys, everything's fine. No, it's not fine. And it's not okay. Everything sucks and it's not okay. And things need to change now. And they need to understand that if things don't change now, then we are ready to join them. We will hold their hand and we will walk into oblivion together. We will walk you down that road. They say it's going to be your fault. It's your fault. We have been promised things for 10.
It is your fault. It is your fault. America is one of the easiest countries in the world to succeed in. Okay, I know it's still unfair for some people there. I'm pretty sure it is, but relative to other countries, no country gives you an opportunity to succeed like America does. No country. So how about you take some responsibility, because it might actually be your fault. People worse off have made it in the same system that you're in. Okay, maybe look within. Maybe take some goddamn responsibility for your failures.
10 years, and it's always just around the corner, just another election. We just need a couple more seats. I got off the hamster wheel. I stopped playing that a long time ago. I endorse no one yet. You give me something, you fight for me, you promise me something. If you're some new guy, okay, now we'll talk. All these other people, you lost. So that's why I'm trying to really drill this.
This is basically crying like a leftist. The society is against me. Systemic racism is holding me back. It's basically the same thing, except instead of systemic racism, you're saying Jews. Jews are everything. I don't have a girlfriend because Jews. I can't pay my rent because Jews. International Jewry is making me watch porn and pay for shit that I can't afford. And not go to the gym and not work harder. This isn't the same thing. It's one side of like, oh, everything in my life sucks because of racism, and the other side, everything in my life sucks because of Jews. This is the same narrative. It's blaming other people and not taking accountability for your own life.
Home for you, like all it is marketing. All it is constant, ceaseless.
Yeah, that's something Armin just summed it up. Yeah, that was a pretty good summary, actually.
Right. So that's why I'm trying to really drill this home for you. Like all it is marketing. All it is constant, ceaseless marketing. Email lists, subscriptions, chat, watch the primetime thing. Hey, guys, sloganeering from Susie Wild. Hey, everything's actually fine. Really? For who? For Elon Musk, who's now worth $600 billion? For who? Bitcoin's at 85,000. No gains.
Wait, what? How did we get to Bitcoin all of a sudden?
That's why I'm trying to really drill this home for you. Like all it is marketing. All it is constant, ceaseless marketing. Email lists, subscriptions, chat, watch the primetime thing. Hey, guys, sloganeering from Susie Wild. Hey, everything's actually fine. Really? For who? For Elon Musk, who's now worth $600 billion? For who? Bitcoin's at 85,000.
You sound like a commie. Like things are not better off because rich people are getting richer. You're a commie.
No gains.
Wait, so you're blaming the government for Bitcoin not gaining? What the fuck are you talking about? What do you want them to do? Do you want them to the government has not like no gains for Bitcoin? You're blaming the Bitcoin prices. They don't control Bitcoin prices. Guys, the Bitcoin prices are low. The Jews are holding it down so I can't get rich apparently.
Anyway, so
what the fuck? Why is he complaining about Bitcoin prices? What do you want them to do about that? What do you want the government to do about Bitcoin prices?
That's that. We're going to move on. We'll talk a little bit about Dan Bongino, but that's my rant about this whole Trump administration. How do we translate this into action? That's always the question. People always want to know, how do we change it? And I'll tell you how we change it. We have to get organized, okay? Separately, we are weak. Together, we are strong. This is just a basic principle. People say that's fascism. That's just true. And what we need is an American lobby. The Trump administration fears the Israel lobby. They don't want to upset the Israelis. Why? Because the Israelis have
fucking bullshit. What?
And what we need is an American lobby. The Trump administration fears the Israel lobby. They don't want to upset the Israelis.
There's no Israeli lobby. AIPAC is an American lobby, you fucking retard.
Why? Because the Israelis have independent power.
No.
Ben Shapiro will...
Actually, the Israelis need to pick up their, media, their propaganda and lobbying activity because they're so behind every other country, every other advanced country. Israel is so behind, so behind. What are you guys doing?
Not vote for Trump if he doesn't think Trump is pro-Israel. Think about that. Think about this for a moment. Why is the Republican Party afraid of offending Israel and Jews? Because Israel and Jews have power.
Okay, because it's retarded to be anti-Israeli because Israel has been so good for America. You should be afraid of having a retarded position that is anti-American.
But what does that mean?
Also, being anti-Jews is genuinely racist, unlike the racism that the left keeps pointing out, which is basically defending your country against mass migration. Okay, this is genuine racism. So, yeah, you should be afraid of being racist.
It means they have money. Money that buys television ads, newspaper ads, radio ads.
You motherfucker, the anti-Israelis and their influences, anti-Israeli propaganda, anti-Israeli media, the amount of money from anti-Israelis in media is so much more than pro-Israelis. This is why it's so profitable right now to be anti-Israeli. The money in support for anti-Israeli content is significantly higher than pro-Israeli content.
It means they have position. They have positions of influence that they can use to influence the course of the election. And it's not just that they have power, but they're willing to use it for their own interests.
First of all, anybody with money should be using that money for their interests. This is what every country does, and Israel should do that more because they're not doing that enough.
So if Trump says, I don't support Israel, let's say he keeps every single one of his policies, but he doesn't support Israel. Do you think Ben Shapiro's voting for him? Honest question.
No, nobody should be voting for him because it doesn't make any fucking sense. Why wouldn't you be supporting your main ally in the Middle East? It's retarded.
Let's say Trump keeps every single one of his policies, but he doesn't support Israel. Is Ben Shapiro voting for Trump, yes or no?
What? He shouldn't be. Nobody should be.
We all know the answer is no.
It's a retarded position to have. You're not America first if you're not standing for Israel.
He's going to tell his audience not to vote for Trump. As a matter of fact, he's going to encourage his audience not to vote for Trump. There's a lesson in this. Take your own side. Take inventory of what you have. We have our vote. We have some money. We have some position. Use it in defense of your interests. And if somebody is not doing something for you, do not take their side. Do not support them. They are not entitled to it. They do not own it. They are not owed it. That is the difference. That is why Black people are getting reparations in kind every year. That is why Jewish people are getting their end taken care of for Israel. That is why Indians and
I don't know what you're talking about. If anything, Israel has done way more for America than America has done for Israel. The relationship that Israel and America have, America has gotten the better end of that deal. So fuck off with this nonsense.
difference. That is
Israel has like you talking about money. Israel has given lives and blood and their security fighting America's enemies. Israel has killed more of America's enemies than American soldiers have. America has saved a shit ton of money by supporting Israel and not having its own troops fighting the people who wish Americans harm.
why Black people are getting reparations in kind every year. That is why.
Look at this fucking retard in the chat saying we don't have enemies, idiot. You're fucking retard. Okay, I was born in Iran. I was raised in Iran. The whole point, the entire aim, the entire goal of the Islamic Republic is to destroy America. You don't understand what you're dealing with. This is your problem. You're a bunch of retards. That's why you support Nick Fuentes.
Jewish people are getting their end taken care of for Israel. That is why Indians and Chinese are getting their end taken care of, because they speak up for themselves. They use their resources for their own benefit. It is us stupid white people, stupid Christians that say, well, we got to hold the line. Well, we got to be team players. Well, we got to vote Republican.
Guys, if you're a Fuentes fan, come talk to us in our discussion group. We have a discussion group that we're going to go to in about 15 minutes, and the link is in the chat. So come over there. Me and a bunch of other people here in the chat, after the show, we have a discussion group and we talk there. If you disagree with anything that we say here, come there and talk to us. Again, it's free. The link is in the chat. The link is also in the description. So come over there. We're going to be having a call there in about 15 minutes.
You got to get up and say, you know what? If there is no immigration moratorium, I'm not voting for Trump. I don't care how unpopular it is. I don't care how difficult it is. If he doesn't commit to an immigration moratorium, then we will not vote. Listen to them squeal, but you're not being a real Republican, but we can never do that, but that's impractical, but that'll never. You figure it out. You're running for office. You're running for Congress. You're running for president. You figure it out. We're the voters. 90% of the people that voted for Trump in 2016 were white, and they're all being robbed of their birthright. They're all being dispossessed. They're all being forced into minority status, a country where foreigners and the foreign-born and invaders outnumber us, and dominate culturally, politically, socially. And Trump has been complicit in it. We have interests as a people. Let's start fighting for them. So we have to group up and we have to make it known and get the word out. These are our demands. They are simple. There is a short list of them. We do not want a war in Iran. We do not want a single net immigrant.
You fucking idiot. If you don't want a war in Iran, the best thing you could do is to support Israel, because Israel is the country that is stopping America having to get involved in a war with the Islamic Republic. That's what Israel is doing. If you want less wars for America, then the best thing you could do is to support Israel.
Coming into the country. You work out the details. Otherwise, we're staying home and you can take your chances. You figure out the fucking math on that. You figure out how to sell it to the American people. That's your job. But people weren't ready to do that last year. I hope that after this experience, you're ready to do it next year. I hope.
So people are saying they're getting butthurt over what I just said. Again, you guys are a bunch of cowards because you don't come to our discussion group. You come and just talk in the chat and just, give us your retarded comments. But when I tell you that we have a discussion group where you could come up and talk to us live in a live call, you don't come. You don't come because you're a bunch of cowards. Again, I put the link again in the chat and it's also in the description.
You're ready to do that in 2028 because that is what is required. We have to use our power. And let them sweat, let them panic, because these political people have made a lot of money. They have made a lot of money and they live a pretty nice lifestyle, private jets and fancy hotels and fancy receptions and rubbing shoulders with the rich and famous and patronage, like things you couldn't believe, lobbyist money like you couldn't believe. Let them work for it. What do we have to lose? At this point, people say, well, if a Democrat gets in, they're going to throw open the border. Brother, it's baked in. What do you think? A few million more immigrants is going to change anything? Honest to God, we're going extinct as a species. If there's not an immigration moratorium, you can cut it 10%, you can cut it 50%. It's time to get serious.
All right, Mr. Serious Man. Okay, guys, again, I'm going to go get ready for our discussion group. I'm going to put the link again one more time in the chat, and the link is in the description. Don't forget to like. Don't forget to subscribe if you're new here, and hit the bell notification so that every time we go live, you guys get notified. And yeah, thank you for being here. I'll see. I know my favorite people here. I know they're going to come to the discussion group, so I'll see you guys there. And yeah, so let's go get ready for that. I'm Israel Chai. Javid Shah. See you guys on the next stream. All right, guys. Bye.